Ninja Land. Welcome back to my Steven Universe episodic reviews. Today's episode is Together Breakfast. This episode starts off with Steven making the Together Breakfast, which I'm not gonna lie, I think it should be more iconic than it is. I guess it's pretty simple, but it looks delicious. I think I kind of want to make it, actually. Maybe I'll make it one day on this channel or something like that. Make a cooking show or something like that. But I'm getting distracted. He makes a nice breakfast, and he wants the gems to take part in the breakfast, and he wants them to join him for a communal meal. And none of them are around.
Pearl? Garnet? Amethyst?
So he waits.
Anyone home?
Then he makes some more. They have a little sequence like that. The first gem he encounters is Garnet. Garnet has something that she needs to do. Amethyst and Pearl come in around the same time. There's a bit of goofing around with Amethyst, but Amethyst and Pearl get into like an argument, and they run off.
Also, I cleaned up your awful mess. You're welcome.
You did what? I have a sister! Amethyst, wait!
Pearl just kind of ignores Steven, which I felt that was kind of, it felt a little out of character. And Steven's like, I made this beautiful breakfast for us to enjoy together. And then Pearl's like, oh, that's nice. Goodbye, Steven. I don't care about you. I feel like that was a little out of character, but I let it slide because it lets a very good episode come along. There's a couple, there's some pretty good jokes. Like when Garnet says that she needs to burn this, he takes a picture of it. And then she's like, I need to burn this too. And then Steven reacts, is pretty funny. He's like, my apps. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to lie. If somebody told me they were going to burn my phone, my apps would not be the first thing I was thinking of. And that's kind of the joke. There's a lot of good jokes in this episode. And I said in the last episode review that Cheeseburger Backpack is probably the peak of the meme face syndrome of this show, the early meme face syndrome that may or may not be errors, and it may just be them trying to get those faces that they know kids will share pictures of, and like, aha, look at this goofy face picture. It's still up there. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as the previous episode. Maybe or may not. I don't count them or like have like a scorecard or anything like that. But the big thing here is that the episode is so good that I don't care. There's a lot of good comedy. There's a lot of heart in this episode. It starts off in a really grounded situation where a family's trying to live together. Steven really wants them to be close and like loving and, oh, I love my family and all that stuff like that. And they're just kind of like, they have other things to do. They have arguments. They have other things that they need to do. I really like it. I feel like it doesn't really have a whole lot of action except towards the end, and I'm okay with that. Once again, it's not, I don't mind it not being an action show. I don't mind there being very little action or anything like that when all the other stuff is good. It has so much heart in this episode. One complaint I would have is that at the end of the episode, it's not, I think, here's my thing. I feel like this episode is a very good, like, kind of, I don't know if it's like a lesson or anything like that, but I think it's a very good thing for people in general to see that it's not a crime to want to be together and to want closeness with other people. And the gems are like, we just got other things to do. I feel like if the end of the episode, it's not, I don't want them to have like, now kids, it's good to be close to their family or anything. Like, I don't want like a He-Man look straight to the camera and tell the lesson or anything. Like, my thing is, it's not quite a lesson, but I feel like the gems were the ones who grew at the end of the episode. Steven was the one who taught them. And if they would have just kind of fit, like, it was beautiful, like, character growth arc like that, if they would have just had a moment where there was just like, the gems specific, like, pointed out, because I feel like kids definitely would like to hear that a little more, like a specific, like, pointing it out. I feel like it's missing this tiny little sequence, like a couple of seconds. Maybe they could have cut out a couple of, like, maybe them making the breakfast. Maybe they could have cut out that pizza joke at the end where the gems are like, you were just trying to bring us together, and I'm sorry for not working with you, or something like this. It's like, I'm sorry. I realized what we were doing was wrong. Then, not necessarily wrong, but like, I realized what we should have been doing, or something like that. And so that the characters would grow, because I think like this is a very different type. This is very different from the gems we see later on in the series. They're very close. They're very like loving and familial with Steven and both Steven and a bunch of other people. And in this episode, they're kind of cold. They're kind of distant. And I like this episode is like a perfect, like, this is why they're growing. And if they would have just like had I'm sorry, this is why we were wrong, character growth, stuff like that. The characters did grow, and it's definitely more subtle. You got to watch it a couple of times. Maybe most people have to like watch it a couple of times to get that exact, I don't know, it's not symbolism, but get that exact thing. I definitely did. My first watch through, I was like, was Steven in the wrong? Because I'm kind of dumb. Maybe most kids get it. All I have to say about that episode is that because I've used one little apology to emphasize the character growth. All in all, beautiful episode. It good comedy, good heart. There's obviously a few character animation issues that are going to be in the situation. I'll let you know when they stop happening. Okay. And beautiful episode specific music. There's music for Garnet when Garnet's in there. When there's the kind of ominous music, I don't think I've heard. You hear again in the series. I'll look for it, but it's like I feel like they make music for specific episodes. Obviously, like they have the little musical numbers, but like they have background music. This show has a gorgeous music, gorgeous backgrounds, and it's like this is a very good exemplification. A rewatch, definitely hit this episode. It has no content. It has almost no connection to the global arc, but it is a great standalone episode. Kids will love it. I think it's good for the whole family. I think it's a very good episode. Get them together with a little bit of Together Breakfast. All right, so that's it for this review of Together Breakfast. Next review will be of Frybo, and I will see you then.